Evening all. Hi Eugene.
Hi, how are you?
Not too bad.
Just something's not happening for me here. Here we are. Right. Hey, Stephen.
Hi, I'm good, thanks.
Hi Stephen.
Hi.
Stephen, you're a sports person. Did you watch the Origin last night?
Nah, it's
Too late for you, eh?
I don't know. It's for a second I based my life around league, but then now I'm just sort of I'm just 100% Chiefs.
Oh yeah, that's going to the game on Saturday night.
Yeah, I always take my old dad Morris. Just we've gone too far. We've been to the mall.
Oh,
Yeah.
good stuff.
Many people in yours are you going?
No. Yeah, no, it should be a good game of rugby on Saturday night.
It's gonna be rainy, man.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit wet. Geez, we had a lot of rain here today. So it's bucketing down outside at the moment.
Is that? Oh,
Yeah.
we've had heaps, but not at the moment, not since we got home.
We'll just give it a few more minutes, say, and then we'll kick it off. Give it till 5 past and
This will make riveting YouTube content. Goes on the
all right, here's Lisa. Hey, Lisa.
Kia ora. Yeah.
Right, we're just going to give it a couple of minutes, Lisa, and then we'll kick this off.
You've already hit record.
Yeah, you might have to do some editing down your end, James.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah.
I've heard some really good things about the pontoon out there, Lisa.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome actually.
Yeah.
It's looking fantastic, and it was so great having the blessing last Friday. You know, and we had a good turnout, and once the whole project's done, it's going to be quite stunning. So the next phase, actually, with the Western Walkway, Simon Tefero, who's a local artist, obviously whakapapas to Whaingaroa, he's doing some big sculptures, and we're doing some information boards, and then we've got part of that walkway is like terraces that go down into the water. So it's going to be pretty spectacular, actually. And there's going to be, you know, the narrative that's going to go on the board, where we want to put in some of the you know, navigation from Hawaii, you know, through the Pacific to here, and reference the Maori boats that worked from the wharf pre the wharf times. So that's pretty cool. And then Dennis from the community board is working on information about the more contemporary side of the wharf when it was established, and, you know, so it's going to be cool.
The fishing trawlers and that out there, and
Yeah, the fishing trawlers, and then the other wharves and stuff like that. So a bit more of the commercial operations, because Raglan was actually really busy, you know, back in the day, even before the current wharf, where the old wharfs were. So yeah, it's exciting. So we're really lucky.
very good. Is there any timeline on when that?
Close to Christmas.
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Really?
so it'll probably be November, about November time, that the big reveal, the main blessing will take place, actually.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think that Megan and Niall and staff with the community and with Hapu, it's been a really great collaboration.
Yeah, cool. Awesome. All right, well, it's 7 past, so what we'll do is we'll kick this off. If everybody's good, I'll kick it off with a karakia. We're okay. So, e te atua, arahi o mātou whakaaro, arahi o mātou kōrero, kia te tuki pai e tēnei hui, āmene. All righty. Hand it over to you, Steve.
Okay. I will
Welcome, first of all, welcome John and Edward. Is it? Edward, yep. Welcome, guys, and we'll hand over to the Brains Trust to update us.
I'm just looking to share my screen. Is it coming up now?
Yep, sure is.
Oh, cool. I'm just gonna make it bigger. Thanks for that karakia, Eugene, and there's some people here tonight. That the recording and the distribution on the website, and just being able to report monthly is really, really useful for the project team, and always appreciate John and others coming to these. So it's all good. I'm happy. I love preparing, or just showing how the progress through this. So we'll just keep doing them and just keep on trucking. So I've just put, there's James is welcome. James has just joined the WEC Waters team.
Hello all.
Yeah, his role is engineering manager, and he's coming joining these and other forums alongside Keith. So I've just got a quick agenda up. It's not particularly long, but I'm going to go through some of the updates for the month, and also thinking more about the feasibility of one of the short-term listed options, which is the private discharge solution. Again, just highlight another study that's been underway and it's just been born out of some of the engagement alongside residents adjacent to the subject site that we're looking along Mangatafu Road. So in the next slide, I've just the June updates. Again, I'm just going back to the past months and looking at the activities discussed then and giving updates on them, the key points, the key areas of work that's underway. All of this is just leading to looking to lead to a finite end, and when we can start reporting upwards to the Water Governance Board and doing the actual best practical option determination. A lot of that's to do with the feasibility and the costing of all these options. We're focusing on the private land discharge option. A lot of the other options have been looked at throughout this process. The private and the public land option are the ones that are cooler ones that are remaining, and we're putting the focus on the private land option at the moment, just to go from a theoretical option to a realistic option. It's been hard work, but it was always going to be a hard one. So I'll just talk about the activities that we've sort of working on now. The conveyance studies. Again, throughout this, we've highlighted that a big ticket here will be conveyance, and some of the post-COVID, this has been quite challenging for a lot of industries. It is the cost of it is astronomical, but we're still working through. We have to cost it and at least get a figure for it. That's some work that's being led by a key colleague of mine, Richards, which is in the project management team. Peter Crab is project manager. He is doing the upgrade project management of the treatment plant at the moment, and that leads into the conveyance studies. The treatment plant, like last year, there's some, just as a recap, we did some with the seasonal algal non-compliances that are coming. We did some trial work to understand if there was any shorter term fix using alcohol filters and some surfactants to pull it out. It didn't work, and so then that was a point where we had a non-compliance that was historically just kept repeating. It wasn't the best look, or something that WDC were keen to prolong if they couldn't. The decision to do an upgrade was made, the LTP money was available, and then that was when the decision to go for the most resilient and treatment, which is an NBR, was made. It was cost comparable. So this is the work that Peter's actually doing, and it's leading through to conveyance work, which is underway now. The other part of this is conveyances has to lead somewhere. So we're looking at the subject site in Mangatafu Road, which is the remaining site that for private, where we have done we had done past optioneering for many sites, and for the reasons that can be documented in the application, this remains the most realistic site, and so it needed some focus. The MOU is being worked alongside the property owner by some great teams in WDC, the property and the growth teams. Both teams have to work quite strongly with the landowner and other landowners there, which are programmed for growth in Waikato 2070, with the 50 years growth horizon there going from a township of 4 to a medium prediction of 8,000. Those areas along Mangatafu Road are those areas surrounding Rangatahi, etc. We know where they are. The blobs are getting strategically designed for infrastructure, eroding water, waste. So there is a strong connection with landowners, and this is a subset of that work. It's not interrelated, but that is progressing, which I'm really, that's another phase that needs to occur, and we'll be able to keep this group updated as it goes forward with an MOU underway. There's greater collaboration, working together with the landowner, and ability to share greater detail and good faith. Having the ability to even having the ability to investigate the site has been a real key win for this project, because without this group, there would be no private land option. We'll be looking straight at public, which has the one area which has its challenges, and it's still an option, but there's some pluses and minuses for each. The last activity is just there has to be some investigation at the subject site to understand the efficiency and the reality of the soils there, to see if it is an option that would work. Subsurface drip irrigation, discharge to land, rather than just a reuse option or something that would be usable for a very small amount of time, with a large amount of time still being reliant on a relief valve or point source discharge. What we have learnt through resilience studies and some of the bigger events that have occurred, particularly Cyclone Gabriel, is fresh in everyone's mind, is that there is going to need to be some relief valve system, and how that may look and how it can be culturally acceptable is just something that is on the cards, needs to be worked through soon. In the interim, if we just provide that, keep working through and giving everyone comfort that we're doing everything we possibly can to establish a land discharge solution in the correct soils, I think that's gone a long way from other consenting programs that have tried really hard in the past but haven't got there the better treatment available now in 2023 is a key thing that can enable a more realistic land discharge option, some or part of the way. So what I've done is just showed some on the next slide. I've just got an example of the type of work that our land discharge subsurface drip irrigation expert is working through on a web portal. This is NextGen, who have done Omaha, Te Anau, and Pauanui, other ones, and this is a lot different to some of those other sites. If other sites had nice free draining soil and square blocks, that's not the case in Raglan. So when you look at the available soils, there is some very deep, loamy, lush soils that land scientists love to see, generally on the top of the peaks. A lot of the areas surrounding is discounted, so generally due to slope, it's just not suitable. So I guess some of the methodology that I know has been undertaken, and I've been part of these, is just having to actually walk the area and with a GIS tracker. And I'll just go on a little bit further. So this GIS, these orange areas are some parts that I walked alongside Landcare and NextGen, where the experts studied it, looked at the topography, and were able to take samples and say, yes, this would be workable. It'd be workable for harvesting. It would actually be, subsurface drip is not an unrealistic activity here. Again, when they were doing there, you see there's some areas like it's called, there's M there and H there, that's a medium sort of soil and a higher rate soil. They were able to distinguish that through their experience. And so bringing that into a portal, you're able to really get a greater, start designing fields and seeing what you could push to get the greater amount of field available, rather than just, if you start losing too many bits of field, then you start looking at something that isn't sustainable. You might get 15 hectares when you originally thought you had 20. So, and knowing the exact amount of field available, being able to put lines in it. These, I'm going to go a little bit further here. I think it's as far as I can go. Those lines are 0.6 meters apart. They are actual dripper lines. This has been a few iterations for this little blob to get the lines as long as possible. You wouldn't want a line that's 5 meters long. It just doesn't work. The designer is thinking like, whoops, has to think about things like the contour of the land. Where is it flowing? At some point, they need to be flushed with water, and if they have to go down. And this is part of the design. I'm not sure the actual dynamics of it. They get flushed in any case and it's part of the discharge consent. Have to work with the contours and extend the lines and get the submains, and then you start getting an ability for greater costing of the whole subsurface drip field operation. The valves, the type of the areas that you can use for it. And at the moment, earlier on before this portal examination, we thought maybe 16 hectares out of a sort of an investigation of about 60 hectares. Now that's bumped up to 21 hectares as satisfaction that the experts say that could be a workable scenario. Now it's just the balancing of the flows that can be done up there over the life of the consent, theoretically. So that's some exciting news. I think that in the next month that'll be more tidied up. I'm hoping the next month we'll have the MOU in place, and I'll be able to work closer with WEC staff and the landowner just to present more detail. So again, I'll finish talking about that. It'll just be watch the space, so we'll be able to provide some more details soon. The next slide was just last time and some other last month and some months prior, we've shown the subject site as quite a vague blob, and then we're able to connect with landowners in the area who are just saying, oh, what's going on here? How are we going? and how, and for my quality of life, if this does happen, I want to understand what's happening with groundwater. And so the discussion there was talking about how the methodology of subsurface drip irrigation stays within the top couple of meters of soil. But regardless of that, there still needs to be an understanding of groundwater movement in the area for all subsurface drip options, either public or private. It'd be necessary for the application, and also when you start doing the effects assessments. So working together with key, really great key guys up there that have the pulse of the small community up there, are able to just say, we want to get a hydrogeological study together. We want to have input and and work on the objectives of the study together. So I was able to distribute the high level objectives below, which is just saying we're preparing a conceptual study. I'll give you a chance to read it yourself, but it's just saying we need a conceptual study to contribute to the assessment of effects. We want to understand what groundwater is doing. We want to analyze the features in the vicinity, including springs, people's bores, just plot them, talk about the recharge, and give a very clear, easy to read, documented paper that people can take away, read, digest, and say, yes, we're satisfied with the methodology. In any case, I talked about how the groundwater will be going towards the ocean and the harbour that's heading in that direction. That's just the dynamics of groundwater. I won't be going towards sort of where the people's bore. There wouldn't be any direction going in that. In any case, we wouldn't be thinking there'd be any commingling with groundwater in it. But that's just what the groundwater is going. It's heading in those directions. Basically, we wanted to create a clear understanding of the processes to enhance everyone's knowledge, particularly in the vicinity of the Mangatafu Road area. So that was something good. We've got Mauricio engaged. He's a hydrogeologist associate, Rebecca engaged to do that work now, and just will be able to present more within a time of about 4 weeks. That's the deadline for a distributable project document. So that is good progress, I think. I've sort of come to the end of my slides. Quite a quick one tonight. You can have some questions, or I'll just like to hand it over to Councillor Eugene I'll stop sharing just for thoughts, comments, etc.
No, that's good, Steve. Good to see that. Did you mention possibly have an MOU done by the end of the in about the next month? Is that correct?
I just know that the staff that are working on it are satisfied that the little things are getting panel beated out, and it should be workable for both parties soon. So it's anticipated that will be soon. I can't give a direct time. I'm just getting feedback from growth managers, etc. But they are optimistic. I would like to think it would be in the next couple of weeks.
Oh, that's great, because that's sort of key at this time, isn't it? That's pretty key to be able to, either start doing a bit of a deeper dive into those areas and a bit more work there. So that's good.
It's a really good phase. It's a good phase to just pause and just say, cool, there's comfort here. If it's going to happen, it's like is very knows about development. Now you have to do consultation with the committee and bring everyone on board, and at least be open about it, so that this should enable it more. And getting an MOU just shows that it's we're on the right track together.
Yeah,
together you say it's not particularly it's not going to be an option.
yeah, and also I see you've got in there in that first slide, tendering for the upgrade is pretty close.
Yeah, again, that's something that Richard and I are going to work closely with the treatment team, who have got a big job to get that underway. I haven't really got too much more detail on that. We can report.
It's a design and build, and so what we do is get to terms of what we want out of it, and that's all been finished by our consultants. So Peter's indicating, I think within the next week or two, he should have it out for procurement. But sometimes we can get tripped up. Yeah.
So Richard, is that upgrade, is that similar to what we're doing up in Te Kaupara?
It's slightly different because we've got ponds here which are sufficiently deep for us to utilise the ponds for the, you know how when you look at the Mary, you've got all the front end ponds with the anaerobic and the aerobic
Yeah.
processes happen. That will all be done within one of the existing ponds. We will work on that pond and line it, and it'll all be done within the pond. But the main part at the end is exactly the same. So the
Okay.
process is an MBR,
Yeah.
but it's, you won't see those front end of the tanks. And like Steve said, there is still some work to be done about how we utilize the other ponds for wet river storage, and absolutely minimize any ocean discharge, which you get what I mean. Yeah. So that's, there's three sort of working pieces, and I think Steve's done a very good job in sort of telling you there's the plant, there's the conveyance, and then there's the disposal field.
Excellent. Thanks for that. Is there any other questions, John, Edward,
I had a quick one.
James?
I've not been in the early stages of this. I just wonder whether with the drip system, is there any, apart from the pump station, anything visible?
There's been ability to show some photos when we had a site visit to a working system in Pauanui, and it's 20 centimeters under the ground. There is, I mean, the larger component, all you see is, like when we went, it was a very dry summer years ago now, not these wet ones, which is causing everyone a lot of grief, but you just see green grass in a public amenity park. There will be some other thing. There is some manholes or some utility
Sort of valve chambers
infrastructure,
sort of thing, where you obviously have to access points within that feed, where the feeds come in and out of the fields, John, because we'll have a number of fields operating and they get, I don't know, Steve, you explained to them how the fields work?
There'll be six fields. We did do that. Yeah, there'll be six. It'll be divided into six fields, and you have a 6-day rotation, and so you need some valves to change it. Within that 6 days, you put it to you load it to the saturation point, and then over the time it goes, the processes and the I showed the wetting patterns decrease, so you can then reuse it in 6 days times. But I think James, when you look at it, when you go to when you go to Pauanui, you can see residential parks look like residential parks, so rural areas will still look like rural areas.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, I think I should visit Raglan before I go to Pauanui.
Good idea.
Yeah.
Yeah. Alrighty. Oh, very good. And as you said before, Steve, that's good going through these and then recording them, because people can go back in. And I think you explained the sequencing of those fields about 3 meetings ago.
That's right. Yeah.
They're about to say, so that information will be there to be able to have a look, be looked at. So
Yep, I did see that. Yeah.
yeah. So that'd be quite handy. Is there anything else? Anybody?
I was wondering whether you've given any thought to what happens if the water flow survey doesn't come up with what we're hoping it will do, and to what extent you're confident that it is going to show what we want.
Oh, John, the groundwater survey?
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. It's going to be, at the moment, there has to be, it's going to have a lens of the experts who will be talking to any WRC experts, which is Mauricio. He's been able to apply his knowledge to it now. He can delve in deep and further, but part of this will be leading on to, say, for instance, this does get legs, putting in a transect of bores. That will be a part of the scrutiny for any field, and it sort of exists with other fields as well. So that'll be a big step and a big cost. That's a point where we're saying, yes, we're very certain that this should be the best practical option. Go to the Water Governance Board, say we need to release some money, or we intend to do this alongside, and this is the opinion of every body, the community and mana whenua who we're working with to put in these transect of bores, which we maybe 3 or 4, and then also doing a pilot study up there to actually ground truth these things. So that's the the point of that's the type of investigation that's needed to present it to the regional council. If it was just theoretical, I say, oh well, there's that is not going to meet that's not going to meet RMA sort of needs. So I don't know if that, have a think about that. John, does that sort of answer where you're getting at, or did you
Well,
think so?
we'll see where we get to, I suppose. I was just wondering if you had got some contingency plans or whatever for what
Yeah.
if, but it sounds as
Yeah.
though you're hoping it's going to come right, and we'll see whether it does. So, yep.
Yeah, I think that is, I mean, again, always with these have to rely on experts. That's why, like with what we're doing now with getting it together, we're just facilitating and trying to get some work streams going. The experts, they are the ones that are going to be standing up there and being scrutinized by their peers. So at the moment, there has been a strong indication that with what we know through the WRC web portal about groundwater location and how it will flow, that the high areas that would be the suitable parts for any subsurface drip activity, there wouldn't be any commingling or any after the dilution and everything. You would not be able to tell the difference between water. There's going to be water pumped in, and it's large. We've talked about it quite earlier on the project. There's every day there's a lot of milk tankers of water being pumped out on the tidal discharge, and it's the same, and it'll be more. But the pilots, the studies, and using the experience from people that have designed these fields is what we're going to be doing, and what we will be relying on for the assessment of environmental effects, and presenting that to the community to have their input and understanding before we go anywhere. Otherwise, you run into risk with getting an application that seems a bit half-baked and rushed.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
All righty. If there's no other questions, we'll finish off. Thanks, Steve, Richard, James. Thanks to everybody that's jumped on board. Cheers, Lisa. And I'll close off with the karakia if that's all cool. So,
Cheers, Eugene. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, Steve. Thanks, team, for your hard work. I know that you've had heaps of passion over the years, and it's well appreciated, you know. And even though we might be a small number gathered online this evening, your work doesn't go unnoticed. So, kia ora.
excellent. All righty. Well, good luck and enjoy the game on Saturday night, Steve. If I run into you, I'll see if you can wrangle a beer.
Oh yeah.
Steve, if I run into you, something's doubling up there. Anyway, so I'll finish off with the karakia. So e te atua, kia te tuki pai o mātou mahi e tēnei hui. Kia tau mai tō rangi marere, me o manakitanga, amini.
Many.
Amini. Kia ora. Have a good evening, everybody. Thunderstorm happening above me at the moment. So, all righty. See you later.
Thanks all.
Thanks.
See you all.